beneath the forest floor, where light never reaches and time moves at the pace of roots, an ancient conversation has been going on for centuries. It is silent, so silent that even the wind cannot hear it. Yet it is constant, rich, and full of meaning. Every tree, every plant, every blade of grass is part of that quiet orchestra. They do not use words, yet they speak in the rhythm of nutrients and whispers of water, in faint pulses of chemical signals and the slow language of patience. Their roots stretch out beneath the soil like fingers searching for connection, touching, intertwining, learning from one another. In one such forest, older than memory, there stood a grand and towering cedar tree. Its trunk rose straight and proud. Its crown reached far into the sky. Around it, young saplings grew, oak, maple, fir, and flower, all nourished by the same earth, yet unaware of the web that bound them together. The cedar was the elder of the forest, its roots deep and wise. It had seen seasons shift like pages in an endless book, storms that tore through the sky, droughts that cracked the ground, winters that froze the very breath of the world. And through it all, it had remained silent, listening. One summer, the sun was merciless. The rains forgot their way home. The soil began to dry and harden. The smaller plants suffered first. The young maple's leaves curled in despair. The wildflowers lowered their heads, their colors fading. The tall grasses turned brittle, whispering their fear in the dry wind. But beneath the earth, the roots began to stir. The cedar felt their pain, faint but real, like a pulse growing weak. Without thought, it began to act from the depths of its foundation, where the soil still held hidden moisture. It sent forth nutrients, slowly, deliberately, through its root network. Its roots reached far and wide, touching the fine tendrils of the maple, the fern, the flowers. The others didn't know what was happening at first. They only felt a strange relief, a coolness returning to their veins. The flowers lifted their heads again. The grasses softened. The maple's leaves unfurled, trembling with gratitude. The cedar said nothing, because it did not need to. Its gift was silent, invisible to the eyes above, but felt deeply in the roots below. This was the way of the forest, the silent exchange of life. When one tree had more, it gave. When one suffered, the others sensed it. They communicated not through sound, but through sharing of minerals, of water, of warnings. If pests began to eat away at one plant's leaves, the others knew before they could see it. If a drought was coming, the roots prepared together. The forest spoke in silence, and silence was enough. Days turned into weeks, and the drought deepened. The stream that once sang beside the clearing became a faint trickle. Birds flew elsewhere. The wind grew hot, yet the forest held on. It was not individual strength that kept it alive. It was a unity beneath the soil, the unseen bond that no storm could break. One morning, a small sapling that had grown at the edge of the forest began to wither. Its roots were shallow and had not yet touched the web beneath. It struggled alone, thirsty and afraid. The cedar sensed its fading presence, like a dimming spark in a field of light. With gentle insistence, it extended its roots farther, reaching, searching. The soil was dry and hard, but still the roots moved, slow and sure. Finally, they found the sapling's roots and touched them. It was the softest of touches, a whisper in the dark. Through that connection, life began to flow once more. The sapling drank deeply and revived, its leaves glowing with renewed green. And though it could not speak, its gratitude vibrated through the network, a silent thank you that rippled to the ground like music. The entire forest seemed to breathe easier. Above, the forest appeared still. But below, The roots pulse with the quiet communication of survival and care. Each exchange carried not words, but meaning. You are not alone. We are connected. What you feel, I feel. What I give, you receive. When the rain finally returned, the forest did not celebrate loudly. There was no cheering, no sound of relief, only a deep exhale, a collective sigh that drifted through the soil and into the air. The roots loosened their hold. The flow of nutrients slowed, and the forest rested, knowing it had survived together. Time passed, and the cedar continued to watch over the forest as generations of plants rose and fell. Every fallen leaf, every decayed branch became nourishment for new life. Even death, in the language of the forest, was not an ending. It was another message passed along, another way of saying, continue. As the centuries moved on, new species took root. Vines began to climb the trunks of old trees. Ferns grew thicker near the shade. Moss spread across rocks and fallen logs. The web beneath grew denser, richer, more alive than ever. And yet, no sound was ever heard. No one spoke, yet everything understood. One winter, lightning struck the cedar. The great tree shuddered, and fire raced down its trunk. The storm was fierce, and by morning, the cedar was gone, its massive trunk now a hollow ruin, its crown reduced to ash. The forest mourned, though not in tears or noise. The loss was felt like silence within silence, a gap in the eternal hum of roots. But life does not allow emptiness to last. From the cedar's fallen body came nutrients richer than any before. New shoots emerged, feeding on the memory of its strength. Mushrooms grew from its bark, absorbing what remained. The cedar had become the forest itself, its wisdom still pulsing to the network it had helped sustain. When spring returned, a small sprout grew in the very spot where the cedar once stood. It was fragile and new, but its roots already reached deep, tapping into the old web. The moment they touched, they received a faint, ancient message, one last whisper from the cedar that had been. Listen more than you speak. Give more than you take. Grow quietly, and the world will understand you. The sprout listened, and it grew, and the forest continued its endless conversation, unchanged yet always evolving. It spoke in rainfalls and root pulses, in the hush of leaves and the scent of wet earth. It spoke of cooperation, of patience, of connection so profound that even silence could be a song. If one could listen, not with ears but with stillness, they might hear it. The faint hum beneath the soil, the steady rhythm of roots exchanging life. They might feel it in the way the air cools beneath the trees, or how the forest always feels alive, even when it seems asleep. In this silence, everything is said. The forest teaches that words are only one way to connect. The deeper truth lies in presence, in being part of something larger, in giving and receiving without noise. Just as trees share their strength through unseen roots, so too does all life thrive in quiet bonds that tie together. The plants do not need to speak to be understood. Their unity is written in the air they purify, the soil they enrich, the shade they cast. Their silence is not emptiness. It is fullness beyond measure. And so, the forest remains a cathedral of quiet communication, a place where every living thing listens before it speaks, gives before it asks, and trusts that understanding does not always require a sound. Deep beneath the roots, the conversation continues, as it has for millennia and will for millennia more. Because in the language of life, silence is not the absence of speech. It is the presence of understanding.